Hello, we are the Casual Ramblers. I'm Will Taylor, joined by my co-host Jack Richardson.
Hello, everyone.
And welcome back, I suppose. It's been a long time we've been away, but we are back and we are ready to go. Bit of an explanation on that front. We were away for Christmas for a while with university. Don't live near each other otherwise, so it was a bit of a...
We are very far away outside of university.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's basically why there hasn't been one.
It was a bit of a logistical problem. Both had a few little holidays with the girlfriends, didn't we? So.
We have, Valentine's
exactly.
And the like. Quite nice though. Where was you off to?
We went to Rome. It was very nice. Pizza was fantastic, as I tell everyone. Mamma mia, get me a bitter. Absolutely. But we are back and we are ready to get amongst it with the sport, as I'm sure they don't want to hear just all about our holidays, Jack.
Yeah, this is, this is where the fun really
It starts at the sport. Right, so as we always do, let's start with maybe a smaller one than what we're used to, a results roundup for the weekend. Obviously starting in the Premier League, anything that took your eye?
Well, I think for starters you've got to go with the Spurs loss.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've sort of quietly been in a bit of a, I wouldn't say title fight, because I do think it is a two-horse race, but they've been quite close, closer than what people have given them credit for. And they had quite a big opportunity this weekend to sort of, get a foot in the race, with Man City not playing a league game and Liverpool having a big one against Man United. And well, they just Spursed it, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, really? I think I can't say I'm a Spurs fan, I'm a Spurs follower, I'd say. But I think it was just very Spursy, the fact that there was one time in the whole season that had they beaten Burnley, people would have actually stood up and gone, fair enough, Spurs are in the title race. So they had that one chance, and they've messed it up. They were in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, which we'll get onto in a minute, and they've messed that up. FA Cup losing to Palace, that's poor. Yes, they'll probably will get through against Dortmund, but how far can they realistically go in the Champions League? Not very. And I do actually, on a side note, think Mike Dean was massively out of order for what he said to Pochettino as well. I'd like to put that on the record.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
But because I don't think that was on. So obviously disappointing. But I mean, at what point did stop discrediting Spurs and credit Burnley?
Yeah, that's true. Burnley were actually really good, weren't they? Obviously, first goal was a bit dubious because watching the replays, it wasn't actually a corner. But regardless of that, I feel like it could have happened at any point. It was actually quite well done from them, and they were dangerous from quite a few set pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tottenham didn't defend them, how you would expect. So I don't think it'd be unfair to say, it should have been a draw. That I think when you look at everything, to do with the game, I think Burnley deserved the result.
I have to totally agree with you there. I think they would deserve the result. Other mentions, obviously there wasn't a fantastic array of Premier League football on this weekend, but a 0-0 draw. I mean, we'll talk more about title contenders and stuff in a bit, but and I say this very lightly because there's only a certain extent to which I mean it. But Liverpool aren't on the sort of champions of England type of form at the minute, are they?
I just don't think, if you look at previous winners of the league in sort of recent years, especially Man City most recently, who would now be their biggest threat, they just don't look like a team that should win the league. No. I know they've been brilliant for, I'd say, probably more than a season now, because you look at the back end of last season. So, they have been good, but I feel like that's the sort of game where they definitely should have done better. Yeah, don't get me wrong, Man United are in a good run of form, and they were at home, but they were missing key players from the beginning. Which
three subs in 40 minutes.
And then 3 subs in the first 40 minutes. I just don't know how Liverpool haven't capitalised on that, to be honest. They couldn't have had a better chance.
I mean, you were there when West Ham drew with them. There's Leicester drew with them as well. It almost feels like a slip-up's coming from somewhere, And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is their blip, and they'll kick on from here. But it does feel a little bit like that.
And they're still left with a difficult game coming up in the Champions League. They weren't able to get any sort of advantage from the first game, so it's just, I don't know. I feel like this is their grey period, and it could go one of two ways. Yeah. This could be it. This could be the extent of it, and they can crack on and do really well, or there can be a turn in form afterwards, and I don't know. We'll see what happens with them.
Absolutely. Obviously, I think I'll take it over for the Championship.
Yeah.
Fantastic result. What a great game, actually. As Norwich beat Bristol City 3-2. Bristol City, the most formed team in Europe. And top of the league, Norwich managed to knock them off their perch.
Norwich have been so good, haven't they?
They've been fantastic this season.
I think I don't think you could have called it from the beginning either.
No,
I think the players they've got, the squad they've got, it's good, but it's not excellent. No. It's quite average across the board, I'd say. But they've just played so well.
I think it's a classic Norwich team that is very much, if you score 3, we'll score 4.
Yeah,
sort of thing, and that's what makes them so entertaining to watch. Obviously, you've got Leeds picked up another win as well against Bolton, but you see Leeds are good to watch as well. But the fact with Norwich is, if they go 3-0 down, there is just no doubt in your mind that they could still go on to win the game at half time. Do you know what I mean? It's very they seem to like a comeback, and they were down. They went behind twice against Bristol City the weekend and still managed to pull through. Do you think they will get promoted?
I think for me, I don't want to say, give a yes or no answer, but I think for me, if they did get promoted, I think it would be deserved. And also, I think they've got some of the characteristics needed to go up. Like, as you just mentioned, they do. They have got a bit of fight in them. They can score goals. And I think for a team coming up into the Premiership, it's those sort of things that are needed. Not just, you can be a team that plays good football in the Championship. Say, for example, Leeds. Or even Huddersfield, when they came up, they were quite impressive in the Championship, I thought. In terms of style of play anyway, there needs to be an extra bit of sort of mental strength there, and I think Norwich have got that.
I totally agree. But the other one I was going to say, the other note, Sheffield Wednesday beating West Brom away 1-0. Are they title contenders? And if they are, how good would it be to see them back in the Premiership? Because I think, obviously, a bit awkward for West Ham. You essentially put them down with Mascherano and Tevez, didn't you?
Yeah. I don't know. I think this year is quite difficult because there's so many teams in the Championship this year that I think are worthy of going up.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's difficult to say.
I totally agree.
I think this year, it's always close, but I think this year's been quite exciting. So many teams playing good football. I think the gap's definitely getting a lot smaller between Premier League because the teams that have come down aren't the ones that are automatically fighting for it at the top of the Championship.
West Brom the only ones in the playoffs.
West Brom's the only ones, and they're not really flying, are they?
No. Well, they lost.
And then if you look at teams that have come down recently, Aston Villa, not really. It's teams that are coming. Well, for Leeds, for example, used to be a great side. They're coming back into it, but
it's more than just putting all your money into one season and going from there, isn't it? When you come down to the Championship, because I think it's definitely a rebuilding period that takes a while, and I think we might see the best of it from Sunderland. It actually took them going down another level in order to build and go again, and hopefully they'll come up again and potentially win it. Speaking of Sunderland, won again this weekend. It does look a bit of a rebuilding process, doesn't it?
I mean, I don't know whether you could say it's to be expected because, they was in the Premier League 2 years ago, but they went down to the Championship. Pardon me. Really didn't enjoy that, did they?
No.
They could not get a win. Struggled to score goals a lot of the time.
Had some great managers as well, didn't they? Chris Coleman, Simon Grayson.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it would have been silly to say, they'll come straight back up from League One, because I couldn't see it, could you?
Well, not the way things were going. I mean, the new ownership was a sign that it might, but even then, it wasn't fantastic.
But they are doing really well there, and it's good to see because they are a big club. They shouldn't be in League One. I don't think they should be in the Championship, really.
No, I think the stadium and the fans, it's definitely a sign of a Premier League club, definitely. But they do look like going up. Obviously, Luton drawing yesterday, bit of a coupon buster for both of us.
Yeah,
but
for a lot of people.
I think that it's very, very bold what Luton have done because they obviously got rid of Nathan Jones left for Stoke, which was very controversial because that Stoke job seems a bit of a poison chalice at the minute.
Yeah, I don't think it's
very wise. But and then they put in Mick Harford, who is I think he's 70 now, and he's taken the job, and he's done
a good job.
Yeah, he's done well, and he was at training every day though as a coach. So I think they've just tried to keep things the same.
Yeah,
and go in that respect. I think that might have helped, but not a great result for them yesterday, but still, I still think they're about loss, is it? I still think they're about 5 points clear at the top. So
yeah, they had such a good run of form, sort of around the Christmas period.
It wasn't that long ago that they were in the conference. I don't think it was only about 5-6 years ago, and they're looking at the Championship. So they are looking at the Championship now. Best of luck to them and Sunderland going up. League Two, only one I can think of that sticks in my mind. Another win for MK Dons. They look to be picking their form back up a bit.
They're one of those teams, aren't they? They are good.
they will fluctuate between League One and Two, probably for the rest of their existence.
I can't see it being any different.
No.
Like, they might flirt with Championship, but at some point.
And I think they're too good to go down to the conference as well. Too much of it.
Yeah, I think they're a classic League One team. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I do. I mean, I don't have, and I think I speak for 95% of football fans. I don't have the greatest respect for MK Dons.
No, not at all.
What they've done. I think even in the way they dealt in the transfer window with obviously Exeter and Paul Tisdale parted company.
Yeah.
He went to MK Dons and they signed all their players. I don't think there was a due diligence there. They were very respectful in how they went about that. And obviously, you've got the whole thing in 2002 with the move in Wimbledon.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as much of an issue for me if they didn't still have their Dons in the name. That's what winds me up.
It's not needed, is it? It's
just make yourself a new club.
Teeth,
I do think that's a bit, but a good win for them against Newport, and they look like they will kick on. Now, Aldershot, they beat Braintree.
Yeah,
this
they
weekend.
got a win, didn't they? Yeah.
Finally,
About time. I can't remember the last time Aldershot won a game.
Going into non-league, but
I actually remember. I saw on their Twitter as well after the game. It was final score 1-0 and in capital letters, we won. Like, I think the media team were just as shocked as everyone else involved.
I think they were, but at the end of the day, I think you've got to say it's going to be too little too late for them, isn't it? They will be playing in the National League South next year.
Yeah. I don't know, I can't really see them turning it around, to be honest.
Be joining Woking because Torquay are definitely going up. I'd like to add
that. Yeah, so at least they'll be back playing there.
They will. But yeah, obviously good result for them. Shame for Braintree. It does look like they're dead and buried now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think so. They don't look great. But yeah, so there's the results roundup for you. Gone through all 5 leagues. Don't have quite enough time to go through all the foreign ones, I don't think.
Yeah, no, not really.
So obviously moving away from football just after the results roundup, as we do. So we've had a few, one boxing fight confirmed and one is heavily speculated as happening. Do you want to tell us about those?
Well, for starters, we've got Anthony Joshua and
Jarrell, wasn't it? Jarrell Miller, something?
You know what?
I don't know.
I know his surname's Miller.
Joshua Miller, we've got, yeah. Madison Square Garden.
I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it, to be honest. The whole thing just stinks a bit. When it came to fighting Deontay Wilder before, Joshua said, well, no, he's got to come here. The biggest stadiums are in England. The best fans are in England.
Yeah.
If he wants it, he can come here.
But Fury went
Joshua, he definitively said, I'm not fighting in America. Why should I? We've had to go over to America. He was there, wasn't he, when he said it?
Yeah, we were there at the... who did he fight? What's his name?
Povetkin. He said, I'm not going over to America. They need to come over here. Now he's going over to America to fight someone who I don't think he should be fighting.
No, I don't think he should be fighting. I totally agree.
It does smell a bit.
I think it does just seem to me, from an outsider perspective, he's a bit scared of Wilder and he's a bit scared of Fury. He's got all but one belt. Does he really want to risk losing them, or does he just want to?
I think for me, he's just going to keep on getting. I mean, no win's an easy win.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He's going to, he's going to keep on getting
dodging the big boys.
Yeah, easy wins as you will, until he has to.
Because they will order him eventually.
Yeah, eventually it'll be mandatory, won't it? It'll be
ordered. The WBC, yeah,
and it will have to happen. But by that point, he'll have had enough wins to
save grace anyway.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think he has dodged it massively, and to say that you won't go to America, and then go to fight, and someone we're not massive boxing fans, but we've definitely never heard of him.
Yeah, I mean, I know who he is, but it's I'm not. I'm not
familiar with him.
I'm not going to lie about it. I don't know.
And then obviously, and I just think it, like you said, it does stink a bit. I think he needs to. I wouldn't say this to his face, but I think he needs to up his game a bit and just bite the cherry and fight the others. But I can sort of see why that's not been a possibility, because all the talk seems to be a Fury Wilder. Fury's just signed a deal with ESPN. Wilder's signed it with Showtime. Looks like they're going to collaborate, and it's going to be Fury Wilder round 2. So Fury's got at least 4 more fights in the US before Joshua's even in the picture.
Yeah,
so.
It is interesting. I wonder how it would have gone if that first fight between Fury and Wilder wasn't a draw.
Which it shouldn't have been.
Which it shouldn't have been. But it is interesting to think, would Joshua be fighting either of them had there been a definitive winner?
Probably not.
Personally, I don't think so.
No,
I think it was never going to happen. I feel like he'll probably fight Dillian White before he fights either of those.
But it's just he's already fought Dillian White.
Exactly.
Why do it again? There's just no point.
He'll do it again. I don't know. I feel like he is just delaying it.
Will there be? This is the big question. Within the next 2-3 years, do you think we will actually finally have a lineal champion of the world? And if so, is that person going to be British, or is Wilder just going to smash everyone out of the park?
I mean, well, it's in our favour, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because 2 English against 1 American. But I don't know. I just don't know if I can see it happening. I just feel like when it does eventually happen, it'll be too late. I think it'll be another case of Pacquiao Mayweather.
Yeah, but they're both.
It was left until it was so late. It was like Mayweather did the same thing. He kept racking up wins until it got to
50
point
didn't
he? I feel like it will be one of Fury or Joshua if it does happen.
Okay.
It will be one of those two to hold all the belts, in my opinion, unless someone new comes through.
Well, I mean, Fury's got to get it off Wilder, and then if he gets it off Wilder, then the WBC surely have to order an all-British fight, which would be probably the biggest fight of this decade, certainly.
I can't think of
maybe of the century.
It'd be the biggest of my lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be huge. But hopefully we do see a lineal champion, and Joshua will fight Fury or Wilder within the next year.
Boxing deserves it as well.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does.
Something like that to happen. I don't think fans want to keep paying
20 quid a time.
Yeah, to watch a fight that they don't.
I know Joshua's earning fantastic money fighting Miller, and he will because it's American pay-per-view. But I'm convinced the pay-per-view would be bigger than if Joshua fought Wilder, for example, would be bigger than what Mayweather Pacquiao was, because this is about a lineal. This hasn't happened in so long,
and not only that, it's English as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you got all the English, all the Americans, which is arguably 2 of the biggest places for sport for boxing, if not the 2 biggest places for boxing. If it did happen, I think Joshua, regardless of whether he wins or loses, would have a fantastic payday that he could ride off into the sunset with. So
I feel like it's just boxing in this day and age as well. I feel like there's a lot of fighters now that are a bit scared to get any blemishes on their record, whereas, I mean, it was sort of before my time, but I say back in the day, you'd see a lot more big fights. You look at how many times people like Muhammad Ali faced the biggest contenders out there on multiple occasions.
David Haye, didn't he? He liked a big fight.
I just feel like a lot of boxers now, they sort of avoid these potential slip-ups for as long as they can, which is, I understand it's good for them on a personal level. It's more wins, more money. But for the fans, this is a sport where fans have to pay to watch.
Big money, yeah. I mean, it was what, 70 quid each to go and watch Joshua Povetkin at Wembley. It's not even that much for a football game. you know what I mean? It's not, very rarely anyway. So that was, it wasn't a huge fight either.
No, exactly. We knew what the end result would be.
Exactly. It was just the experience that I'm not sure I'd go for again unless it was a big fight. To be honest. But that's as far as I see it. Hopefully, like I said, we do end up with a lineal champion, and something.
How long that would take, we don't know.
Exactly. And something can come of it. Moving on to yesterday's cup final, the Carabao Cup final.
Yeah.
I mean, Sky Sports described yesterday as Super Sunday.
Wow.
And it was, I mean, I think I fell asleep halfway through it. It was quite terrible, but, they can't control the games or anything, I suppose. Not the greatest 0-0 in the world, the actual final in itself. But obviously the one big talking point, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his surname, Kepa the keeper.
Yeah.
Chelsea's keeper. Right or wrong?
Kepa is, I think, completely in the wrong. I completely understand what he's trying to do. He thinks he feels fine. He feels ready to carry on. But I feel like any football manager just has to say, don't be a hero.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a team game.
100%.
If there's an option for someone who's 100% fit to take your place when you're not 100%, it's not about you. You need to think about the bigger picture. Not only that, but the actual option was to keep a keeper who wasn't 100% in goal for a shootout, to replace him for a keeper who in a previous Carabao Cup final it was Chelsea City. Saved 3 penalties
and won them the cup. Yeah,
whilst playing for City. So he knows the players.
Exactly, like the main players.
I feel like in a penalty shootout, he's the weapon they wanted.
Exactly.
I'm almost shocked
It didn't
they
happen
didn't
anyway.
start him. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like it made so much sense for him to come on for that penalty shootout. I'm not if he'd have gone in. I'm not saying Chelsea would have won it, but it just seems like that would have been perfect for them. And I understand the keeper wouldn't have realised that whilst on the pitch.
Yeah.
But I think the manager just needs a bit more authority
Yeah,
over his players. And I think it is quite, it's a bit of a telltale sign when...
Yeah, because we were having this conversation earlier. You didn't feel for Sarri, did you?
No, I feel for him in the sense that, I feel for him because I feel embarrassed for him.
Yeah.
It's not nice to see a grown man having to go through that because he's just been straight up denied.
Embarrassed, yeah.
But at the end of the day, he is a football manager at the highest level. One of the key characteristics in that role is to have authority over your players. People need to take orders from you. I mean, it didn't happen, did it?
Exactly. Let me just ask a question though, because I think this is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Had Chelsea, say Chelsea were top of the Premiership, and unbeaten all season, and Sarri goes, right, you look injured, off you come Kepa. Kepa does come off, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Because, but I think the only reason I felt sorry for Sarri is because Kepa has literally just played on the fact that he knows his manager is walking on a tightrope.
Yeah.
So he's played on that in order to gain authority, which isn't fair because Chelsea played fantastically. They really pushed City all the way, as you know, as it went to penalties. But for that to happen in the 118th minute, when there's penalties in literally 5 minutes, for you to have the audacity to kick up a fuss like that, because how much confidence does that give City if Sarri can't bring on the keeper that he wants to for a penalty shootout because the other keeper's refusing? And I'm not being funny, Kepa made himself look a bit of a knob, to be honest. With all that, he did all that diving stuff, and then he dives to his right and it squirms through his body. Aguero's laughing at him. He made himself look stupid. Does that happen with Calaveras in goal? I don't think so.
I think as well, on both sides, a penalty shootout is such a mental game.
Exactly. It's not even about the penalties.
It's not
so
about
mental.
the skill.
No,
it's about psychological factors, mental factors. I mean, when Kepa does that, the Chelsea players, they're going to feel a bit uneasy, maybe not as confident as they might have done. They're thinking, hang on a minute, is our keeper fully fit? Can we trust him?
Well, this is the thing though. Like David Luiz, he was the one that was trying to sort it out, whispering under his hand. He missed his penalty. So that's,
and it will fill the Man City players with confidence as well. Exactly. Like, hang on, I don't think their keeper's 100%. We've probably got a bit of an edge in this shootout.
Which they did, 100%.
Yeah. I've never seen it before.
No,
and that was mentioned by everyone involved.
Even
in the
commentators. Yeah. It looked like Sarri was just going to walk out of his job at one point, didn't he? He went to go down the tunnel.
The one thing I will say is, in his post-match interview, I think part of the reason I don't feel sorry for him is he had his chance to sort of redeem himself and show authority after the game. He could have said, "Yeah, I don't know why he didn't listen to me, but he will be punished." That was his chance after the game to put it on the record. Instead, he gave a very grey. It wasn't black nor white. It was a very poor answer. I thought he basically just said, it's a misunderstanding. We're both in the wrong, whatever."
Yeah,
that was his chance to stake his claim and just say, you know what? I did tell him to come off. He didn't listen to me, and he will be punished for it.
But is that a sign of Sarri being a poor, not being very authoritative, or is it a sign of just how football's changed and that you can't openly criticise players anymore? You've seen in the age of Jose Mourinho is finished now, because he's the only manager I can think of off the top of my head that will come and publicly criticise a player. You won't get any more people like Alex Ferguson. You look at probably arguably one of the best managers in the world at the minute, Jurgen Klopp. He openly loves his players. He would never criticise a player in public, and that's what it's all about. Players want to be cuddled and given a little.
They do want to be, yeah.
And I'm sorry, and whether Sarri, the age of managers like Sarri is over as well. I don't know. Maybe it was a bit of a backward step by Chelsea, because I think you need someone. You look at what Gerrard and Lampard are doing. They're very straight talking, straightforward. They know they've been players themselves. So whether it's not the age of, screaming and shouting, it's probably not the age of screaming and shouting and throwing teacups across the dressing room anymore. So when, and as much as he probably should have showed authority, maybe Sarri was literally thinking, I don't want Kepa to kick off now. Because I know what you're saying, because if that's Alex Ferguson, then he's training with the reserves the rest of his Man United career or Chelsea career or whatever, isn't he? So
yeah, I do understand what you mean with different types of manager, etc. It's just I don't know. I just feel he can't give, fans especially, he can't give them much confidence with that.
No.
Firstly, they've seen a manager that can't control his players. Secondly, doesn't really seem to think much of the event in his post-match comments.
No, he didn't.
The whole thing just seemed, and it's sad, really, because it just really dampens what was a great performance for Chelsea. If that's a league game, that's a huge result.
That's a great point.
Keeping Man City at bay.
And they did.
They didn't really have huge chances. City. I know they scored that goal that was offside, but it was like
it's offside.
Offside, so it makes
no difference.
And they had chances as well, Chelsea, and I think if Kepa hadn't have done that, it wouldn't be so much of a big deal. But now that there's something to scrutinise, it's blown the whole thing out of proportion. People need to realise, look, if that's a league game, that is a huge result for Chelsea.
I totally agree.
And now Sarri must feel like an absolute idiot because now people are going to be scrutinising him when in reality he's done his job. Yeah. He's set his team up perfectly for 90 minutes.
They must have played the penalties. They must have played the penalties, like realistically, considering they've been whacked 6-0 penalties before.
So I think I don't think he will get sacked after this. He'd have to go and lose a few more games, definitely. But if it were to happen, I think it'd be massively unfair to base this game. Based on this game,
I think I totally agree. I think it's more of a infrastructural problem at Chelsea. To be totally honest, I don't think. I think maybe this time it probably is what to fire Sarri because I think he's lost the dressing room. But now they just need a manager that. It doesn't matter if you don't win the Premier League in the next 3 years. It doesn't matter if you don't win Europe. It doesn't matter if you win a trophy. Let's just build. They should be saying, let's just build something. Let's just get something. A solid manager, a solid team. Let him build. Let him buy a £50 million striker that's 22, like Timo Werner, that he can build the team around. It just because Chelsea at the minute seem to be in this phase of either buying people from foreign leagues that only suit the foreign leagues, such as Jorginho, or buying, quite frankly, has-beens like Gonzalo Higuain. I don't think he's with it. I don't think he's 5 years ago, fair enough, he might have been a good signing, but now I don't see it. So why are they not going out of their way to? Look at City. Everyone raised eyebrows when they signed Jesus for 40 million, and now he's banging goals in the Premier League, competing with Sergio Aguero, but arguably the best Premier League striker of the last sort of 10 years. So, I think it is definitely more of an infrastructural problem at Chelsea, like I said. But whether Abramovich is going to do anything like that, especially with now the fact they've been banned for 2 transfer windows, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the only positive for Chelsea is something that's been a negative in the past is the fact that their youth players never get a look in.
No, I feel the Hudson
now can be the opportunity for it to happen. Which is the only positive I think I could be able to take from this is I think they need to bring them out. I think it could be positioned perfectly. You can have Frank Lampard finish off his season at Derby
and come in,
and he could even move on after that one season. He's got a bit of experience managing. He can come in. He knows the club inside out. He wouldn't be afraid to use the younger players.
No, definitely he was that.
He wouldn't need if they weren't able to buy anyone in those true transfer windows. I don't think he'd need to anyway because he knows what he wants. He can bring in so many great players, youth players, and some of them it's not even a case of some of them aren't even strictly youngsters anymore.
You look at Van Hinkel, he's got to be, 24 now?
Yeah, and even Loftus-Cheek, he's definitely at the stage where he's ready to start for any other Premier League club, really.
I don't think there's many teams you wouldn't start in the Premier League, other than maybe City.
I just think...
Is it more of an infrastructural problem then?
I feel like it has to be. 'Cause I think Sarri could easily go to another club and do well. I think Chelsea...
Is it not past it?
I don't think so. I think Chelsea's a very difficult club to manage. I think there's something deep within. I don't think the managers are often used as a scapegoat, but I think the instructions they're given, I think it's very difficult to follow them and make it appealing for the fans. I just feel like the problem's deeper than just what the manager and what the players do. Because I can't imagine... Because Chelsea have had the same problem for a very long time. I can't imagine not one manager they've had has gone, you know what, I am going to play the youth. I can't imagine none of them have decided to do it.
No, because
I feel like there's instructions there. There has to be.
The thing that annoys me is the £50 million signature of Pulisic. He's 21. They've got Hudson-Odoi. Yeah, fair enough. They played different sides. He was younger, arguably better. Pulisic, fair enough, he's been good for Dortmund, but even he's being benched by Jadon Sancho.
He's not that good. Like
he's been benched by Sancho.
He's not even a very consistent starter for Dortmund.
No, I don't think he is. But it's how far do you It's becoming a problem. It's all to do with money and broadcasting, that they need big names to get people to watch games, which is unfortunately how football is, and probably the most infuriating thing about it right now. But I think probably whether or not Sarri will be or should be sacked is unfortunately not our decision, because I'm sure as you say, Chelsea, a bit of an affiliation with Tottenham. It's probably not too bad to see them suffer at the minute anyway.
Yeah, I must say I'm not Chelsea's biggest fan.
So. Moving on, I think staying on the Carabao Cup final in a way, it's all right. Slating Chelsea, saying that moment cost them. I mean, City still won it, and that's another trophy in the cabinet.
They are very impressive, aren't they?
They are fantastic.
I know Chelsea did keep them at bay, but
they probably deserve to win over 120.
Yeah, City controlled the ball. They didn't have huge chances, but they did. They were a threat. I love watching them play.
I think they're fantastic. I think Guardiola is arguably one of the best coaches anyone in the world has ever had. Football has ever had. Obviously, though, the only thing is, City have to get to the semi-final of the Champions League this season in order for Guardiola to have matched what Pellegrini did in his first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
First 2 seasons, sorry. So although it's all well and good the football they're playing, fantastic. If this is the only trophy City win this season, we'll look at both sides of it. But if this is the only trophy City win this season, has Guardiola's first 2 years been a failure?
I wouldn't say so, because I understand it's a results business. But if you look at the two teams side by side, they play a much better brand of football now. They still do get a lot of results. They're still always amongst it in every competition they're in. And they're just, I think they've sort of built themselves, and they've become a great team. They play good football. They've got a sort of ethos. They have a style of how they play, and I think in the current moment, you could consider it a failure if they don't win certain things. But I think it's a longer process than what some people think, and the fact that now they have a sort of personality, a way of going about what they do. And it's the same revolution that happened with Barcelona, for example. It's starting young now. They have this Man City ethos, and I think it can only improve, really. I am interested to see in sort of 5 years' time how they're looking, if it really has carried on through the ages and they have players come in the same way that Barcelona did. But I think it's a success, because I think when Pellegrini did what he did there, I don't think you could have had much confidence in saying, "Oh yeah, this is going to be them for the next 5 years." Not until Guardiola came in. Now I see them as a footballing powerhouse. Whereas under Pellegrini, they just did well, but I still didn't consider them a mainstay, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so if that's the case, it doesn't matter anything. It doesn't matter. Will Spurs be in 25 years' time, regardless of what happens over the next few seasons? Are Spurs considered a successful team? Because they haven't won anything. They haven't won any. They've literally not got any silverware to show for what they've done. But similarly, if Guardiola doesn't win it, he's still setting a legacy. Is Pochettino still setting a legacy if he doesn't win anything?
I think it's different, because at least Man City have won stuff.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
If Man City hadn't won a single trophy, then I'd say, yeah, of course it's a failure. But they have won a league historically. Enough, yeah. They won it very well.
They did Centurions, weren't they? So.
Yeah, League Cup. I think they probably will go on to win the FA Cup this year.
I think they will, yeah. Champions League?
I'd see no reason why not.
There'll be an English team, I think, whether it's City or Liverpool.
They'll definitely, unless they draw each other again like last year.
Yeah. That could potentially be a final.
I feel like it could have been the final last year.
Yeah.
Looking at it, the way both teams were playing.
Do you feel like City would have pulled one over on Real Madrid as well, to be totally fair?
I think they would have, yeah.
Can they do the quadruple? That's the big question on everyone's lips. Can they do it?
I don't see any reason why not. I think
One out of the way, I suppose.
They've got one out of the way. The thing with the FA Cup, well, they've got Swansea next. They can go and play their second string side and win that comfortably.
Yeah,
I think.
totally
I don't think they will do that.
No, they learned from Wigan last year, didn't they?
Guardiola's, he has used strong sides.
The fixture pile-up's going to affect them now, surely.
Yeah, I think it will do.
There's been 3 cup competitions.
That's one thing that Liverpool sort of got out of the way early. I don't think intentionally, but they were out of both the league and FA Cup relatively early, weren't they? But for me, if Man City do go on to win at least one more trophy this season, I think massive credit to them because they've played strong sides in every front.
Yeah.
And to win...
I mean, Burton Albion in the semi-final, that was quite a tough game for them, to be fair.
Well, yeah.
I know what you mean, though, yeah. I do get you.
Okay, the second leg, we can forget that. But the first leg, they played a strong team against Burton Albion. And, right, you know what? Why not go and beat them like that?
Yeah, exactly. No, I do agree with what you mean. I do agree with what you mean. But I suppose, best team ever if they do win the quadruple in history?
I'd say over the course of like a season or two, maybe, yeah. But there's been teams that have been excellent for a longer period of time. So I think it would take maybe one more season of success to put them in that bracket. But you look at, say, the Barcelona.
No team's ever done it before, though. Won a quadruple. Not in England, anyway.
Not in England, no. They'd be the best English team, without doubt. Because I think in terms of ability, they already are like the most.
Right.
I think if they had, I think they're better than Arsenal's unbeatables. It's just they need, I can't see. I think it's a lot more competitive now. I can't see another team going up.
No, we thought they might, but they obviously lost to Palace as well, didn't they? So that was a bit.
But yeah, they'd definitely be in the conversation.
Yeah. I think they might even be the Centurions team might even be in that conversation. But fair enough. I think they do have what it does. That do have what it takes. The only stumbling block probably the Premier League because Liverpool do look. They're in pole position. If Liverpool better City's result for every as they go on. Like for the rest of the season, only 10, 11 games left.
Yeah, it's in Liverpool's hands.
But it was in Liverpool's hands a few years ago as well, and we all know what happened there. Moving away from Manchester, we will be back just in a few minutes. Important to talk about the other big sporting event at the minute, the Six Nations that's going on.
Yeah, and
big win for Wales at the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, especially as England had been doing quite well.
Yeah, they looked like they were going for a Grand Slam.
Yeah, it looked really good. I think to beat Ireland was the first sort of. Yeah. Hang on a minute, we could maybe get excited here. Exactly. France is just a write-off because
they are terrible.
It's still impressive. Still played very well.
Yeah.
And then I thought, personally, I think I was a bit overconfident going into
the
Wales game.
I think most Englishmen were.
But credit where credit's due to Wales.
Absolutely.
They played very well.
That Dan Bigger when he came on just changed the game, didn't he? Fantastic. Yeah. He absolutely changed the game.
Because I wouldn't say it was that England were terrible.
No.
It was a well contested game. It's just.
I think it was very well contested.
Wales were just very good on the day, and it is what it is.
And I think Wales may go on to get a Grand Slam now. Actually, to be fair to them.
Yeah, I think it's on the cards.
They've not got too many. I think they've only got Italy and who else they got to play? Italy and Scotland, maybe. So I think that's the two they've got to play now anyway. So that'll be very, very interesting to see how they do.
Yeah, good side Wales. But it's been a good Six Nations.
It has, it has been very enjoyable. It's been very, I say predictable, but no one expected Ireland to crumble like they have, did they? So
no, I thought Ireland were set for another Grand Slam. To be honest,
they looked good, didn't they? But I mean, how old's Johnny Sexton now? He's got to be getting on, isn't he?
He's been around the block.
Yeah, so he got World Player of the Year obviously last year, didn't he? But that stands for nothing if the 14 players around you aren't putting anything in, unfortunately. But fantastic for Wales to win. As Englishmen, I can pretty much on the nation, on the football side of the nation, say what everyone's thinking, that it's not our main sport. So.
No,
you crack on.
Yeah, you do.
You do rugby and we'll do football. No, but in all seriousness, great win for Wales and best of luck to them in going for the Grand Slam. I think because, as I said, football is a priority.
Yeah,
and it always.
We'll let you have that one.
We'll let you have that one. Absolutely. Finishing on the debate as we do. If you want to propose this question, Jack.
Yeah, well, obviously, since the last time we did a podcast, there's been quite a significant change in Manchester.
Well, yeah, the red side of Manchester. Certainly.
Yeah, the red side of Manchester. Obviously, Mourinho was gone after the Liverpool loss.
Mm.
Solskjaer came in, which I think shocked everybody.
Definitely,
I definitely wasn't expecting it. I thought they'd bring in a manager.
Laurent Blanc was my immediate reaction, but
I thought he'd be a permanent manager straight off the bat. But Solskjaer came in until the end of the season. Well, so far anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Done very well, hasn't he?
I don't think there's any denying he's done well. I don't. I think he's
other than the Champions League, still unbeaten.
Yeah, I mean, in the league, fantastic. Got a draw against Liverpool.
Got a draw against Liverpool. Beat Arsenal. And Chelsea in the FA Cup.
Tottenham as well.
And Tottenham. Only dropped points to Liverpool. And who was the draw? Burnley when they were 2-0 down and scored 2 late goals to equalise, which is Fergie-esque.
If you go.
But I think in terms of the debate surrounding this is, should he get the full-time job come the end of the season?
No. Because simply, I mean, you look at the. Let's break down the fixtures, right? You play an Arsenal team that are up that probably, fair enough, they weren't great under Wenger, but they're at the most pivotal point in their history. They're neither coming nor going. No one knows where they're at, and they definitely weren't in a position to win an FA Cup or even challenge for an FA Cup. I get the Emirates isn't the easiest place in the world to go, but they weren't in a great position. They played Sarri's failing Chelsea, who, quite frankly, weren't what they are. They weren't that team against City. They were shocking. Not discrediting United, but they were shocking. Finally, the game against Spurs that everyone seems to say was a, great result. And I mean, are we forgetting that Tottenham had about 18 shots on target? Fair enough, you still win the game. De Gea played brilliantly, but it's not like they dominated. It's not like they were overly convincing. This isn't the Man United of 99 here.
Well, De Gea was man of the match in that game, wasn't he?
Yeah,
that says it all.
Exactly. And fair enough. United have done well. It's been a good turnaround. There's no denying that. They've won the amount of games that they've won. Very strategic by the board when to sack Mourinho. When the next 3 games, I think, were Huddersfield.
Yeah.
And 2 teams are under, but Fulham was one of them. I think
even under Mourinho, Man United would have gone 1-3.
I totally agree. I totally agree. So I'm not having that. He's won. Fair enough. He has won 10 on the bats, but I'm not having that. That's a fantastic record. My other problem with it is Solskjaer has failed miserably at Cardiff. Yeah. He's not got a good track record as a manager. I don't even think he won the Swedish League last year with Molde, which is pretty shocking. And, I mean, I'll probably say this is my final problem, is Solskjaer is just the face of it. If Mike Phelan turns around next season and goes, hang on, I don't want anything to do with this anymore.
Yeah.
Man United will not get in the top 4 and will not succeed at all. Phelan is the one behind all of this. He's the one that was assistant to Alex Ferguson in their most successful years. He's the one that's uplifted, I think it's Central Coast Mariners in the A-League in Australia. He is the one that's doing all the hard work, and as far as I'm concerned, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is just the face of it. So, in short, no, he shouldn't get the job full time. I think there's plenty better managers out there. That Pochettino would be a much better appointment. They need someone with experience, someone that's actually going to rejuvenate them. Mourinho was the wrong call after getting sacked by Chelsea, and so was Van Gaal. They're going to trap better than that. They will attract better than that, and he shouldn't get it permanently.
Yeah, I think for me, right now, I think people are getting a bit ahead of themselves. I don't want to discount it, because I think.
I thought you were saying he should get the job.
Huh?
I thought you were going to say he should get the job.
I think it's too early for the debate to even be happening.
Oh, here we go. He's backtracking already.
No, I never said he should get it. I think it's too early for this. Just for everyone involved, it's only been 12 games. I don't think it's a straight up no, because it is still better than what they were before he came in. But I feel like he's still got some tests to face before the decision should be made.
Okay,
he hasn't.
fair, yeah.
Man United, whilst they've been under Solskjaer, they haven't really had their backs against the walls yet. And I think for me, that's a test that's got to be overcome, because he's struggled at Cardiff, where it would have been a job where your back's constantly against the wall. You're going to be against the ropes. And he didn't do very well. So I want to see how he can cope with United being in that situation. How is he going to cope after, going to Man City and losing 3-0? How does he react to that? Once those questions are answered, I think then you can say, maybe he does deserve it, maybe he doesn't. Right now, I don't think that's something that should be thought about. I think for Man United, they need to take each game as it comes until the end of the season and then review it. I think if they start thinking about it now, It just overcomplicates things. I think the best thing for them is just enjoy the football that they're playing right now, because God knows how long it's going to last, and just play each game as it comes, and see where it leaves them at the end of the season.
I'm going to push you for an answer. Should he get the job yesterday?
If you're going to push me for an answer,
I'm pushing you for an answer.
I'm going to say no, just based on his past as a manager. I think you do need experience. However, that no can very easily change if he answers upcoming questions.
Okay.
But right now, I think it would have to be no, just because of how big United are as a club and the little experience he has as a manager at that level.
That's fair enough, and I think that is all about we've got time for today, pushing over the 45 minute as we have done. Thank you for listening. If you're listening, it's been real fun coming back after all those weeks.
It's been so long, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been so long, and we are obviously going to try and make it.
We will be back next week.
We'll be back next week, and hopefully make it a little bit more regular now, as that's what we're going to aim to do. I'm very sorry about the 6 weeks that we missed, but we will hope, or longer than that probably, but the 6 weeks over Christmas we missed. But hopefully we will come back for a more regular podcast in the coming weeks. Thank you very much for listening. I've been Will Taylor.
Yeah, and Jack Richardson here.
And we very much appreciate you listening. See you next week.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.